So today we're talking about roommates because, everybody wants Janet and Chrissy, but most of the time what they end up with is kind of a Hannibal Lecter. Alrighty, well, I'm fat, I'm naked, therefore this is a naked vlog wherein we are naked in order to show that we are honest, open, and truthful, and not to be sexy, because let's face it, I'm sexy regardless, but that's beside the point. Today we're talking about roommates. Now, before I go into that, I have to make something clear. I'm not an easy man to live with. I suffer from a very extreme level of depression, and I've got projects sitting all over my house. The place is a terrible mess. And, well, I am the only one. I live with my brother, and I am the only one that does any cleaning. I will admit that much. So that makes things difficult, because I'm also the only one that does any cooking, and that's a lot of work for two people. Anyway, so I got this weird wind thing going on. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so here's the thing. I own my home. My home originally belonged to my mother, and she passed away. It was passed on to the 3 children, so for most of my life I've lived with my brother and my sister, and both my brother and my sister would say that I'm a terrible roommate, and my sister has tried to have me legally removed from the ownership of this house on 3 occasions. But because those are family, and I don't think they really count as roommates, I have to go with the one person I have ever let live with me. That is a gentleman whose name I will not bring up. But here's the story. This guy was a friend of mine. I had known him for nearly 20 years. He joined the military. Well, I knew him for 15 years, joined the military. Knew him for like 18, 19 years. He was enlisted, and he gets out of the military. He's coming back to California, and he divorces his wife right before leaving. I feel really sorry for him. First he asked me if I'd move with him to Vegas, and of course I said no, and then he asked if he could move in with me, and I was like, I feel really sorry for him, and I told him, you may move in until your GI Bill kicks in, because he was going to go back to college. And here's the thing. State of California, the law says that if you move into somebody's house, the act of moving in is you agreeing to their rules. Now, I want to be clear here that somebody had to make that the law, because there are people that moved in and said, well, I never said I'd do that. This guy was not aware of the law. And in fact, because we were such close friends and he had basically been embarrassed by the fact that he broke up with his wife, he decided he had to make me look bad in front of everyone else. So he used the fact that I was depressed and I'm something of a slob to make me look bad. And to increase on that, first of all, he said he wanted to go to a local college because it was close. I said, you can't stay here for 2 years. He said, so kick me out. Every time I said anything to him, I was upset with what he was doing. He said, so kick me out, so kick me out, so kick me out. He wanted me to kick him out so he could go over to all of his friends and say, Richard, kick me out, Richard, kick me out. Something along that nature. And then the other thing was, he told everyone I was a slob, but every time I was cleaning the house, he starts bugging me to start playing video games. So, here is this guy trying to create a problem and then complaining about a problem. And then the third thing that was very, very annoying about him, of course, is that every time he paid the rent, because I did charge him rent. I didn't actually decide how much. He decided how much he could pay, which I thought was pretty nice to me as a friend. But he decided how much he could pay, and then every time he paid it, he demanded I buy him something. Like he demanded, well, we need a carpet for the living room, or we need a coat rack, or we. At the 3rd month of this, I said, no, I'm not. Just leave me alone. Whatever you want, go buy it yourself. because it was the coat rack was that time, and it's like, look, I've got a whole closet. I don't need a coat rack. You don't even own a coat. You know what the hell? So it's at that point he moved out. Okay, you know, that was my roommate story. Is that finally guy moved out after 3 months. Seemed like it was a lot longer, but he moves out, and then of course, because he oh, I forgot one thing. When he first moves in, he starts joking that he stole my house from me. He wasn't joking. He honestly thought he had stolen my house from me. He thought I was so stupid that I would do whatever he said. So, any case, I think it was maybe within 2 months of me, of this man moving out, that I just couldn't stand being around him anymore, so I stopped hanging out with him. Well, okay, what I did was I went up to this guy and I said, look, you know, you obviously are going to decide what you want to do. We'd argued all night about what we were going to do. He wanted to go play pool. I wanted to watch a movie. There was a third guy with us, and the third guy kept saying he was easy, but he also wouldn't play pool. So there it is. So I told this guy, you know, call me before I come over here, and tell me what it is you want to do. If I want to do it, I'll come over. If I don't want to do it, I'll stay home. Next week, you know, I was expected to come over there, but I didn't because he didn't call me. And then he ran around telling everyone that I refused to speak to him because, you know, I'd asked him to call me and leave a voicemail. It's kind of a complicated story, but that guy was the worst person I've ever lived with because he was very demanding and kept causing the problems he complained about. I mean, I don't know. I've never really had a roommate. I never really want a roommate. I'm kind of a solitary person, and that's just who I am. So, cat's ringing bells outside. I'm going to let you go. If you'd like to make your own naked truth here, the person to go seek out is Trisha Hirschberger. She decides our topics, and I guess I'll put a link to her channel below. And, yeah, go enjoy that.